Tuck and Tuck Show.
All right, welcome to the Tuck and Tuck Show. Today we have a special guest, Jay Shrewsbury. How you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. First of all, now what is your title at the cable co-op?
Technically, it's general manager, but it's just an old cable title that kind of got carried over for years. I'm more in a position of director, responsibility of an owner without the benefits of being the owner.
Okay, now you're not the owner. Do they still have a board at the cable co-op?
Correct. Yes, we're actually member owned. The members select a board of 12, and they're kind of my oversight committee to make sure I'm doing what our mission statement would like us to do.
Okay, now that board has been in place since the very beginning, correct?
Absolutely.
Now, does that board get voted on all the time? Is it changing?
It's once a year. There's always 4 members that are up for re-election. And so every year they're voted on, and this year we happen to have the same 4 members come back. But we had a great voter turnout and had 7 people for nominations this year, but ended up being the existing board members got back onto the board.
Okay, because they seem like from the beginning, what was their mission statement from the beginning?
The idea of the cable co-op, it was actually founded over 40 years ago by community members that wanted at that point in time there wasn't internet. But they wanted a cable television company that was locally owned and just serving their community and not a big legacy company.
Okay, yeah, because so when I lived in Oberlin as a child and most of my life, and it was a big deal when cable first came to Oberlin because I remember, I'm dating myself, but it was 3/5/8/1943, so it was a big deal when they first got here. And I remember the little boxes on top of the TVs. So since those days, how have you grown? What improvements have you made with cable co-op?
Well, obviously there's been a lot of lot of changes within not only operational and technology, but how we respond and interact with the community. So mainly what we have is over the years, eventually what happened is the internet came about. So the broadband industry was kind of born from that, and it was adopted pretty early by cable co-op. And after that, we ended up having to upgrade our system originally about 25 years ago when I first started here, is we upgraded and add fiber optics to the system. So a lot of people assume now that fiber optic is such a big talk that we don't have, but we've had it for over 2 decades. And then it transitioned to analog TV going away, which was mandated by the FCC. So digital TV came about and allowed us to add a lot more channels to our lineups, DVRs, fancier boxes. And then eventually we started upgrading even more to increase our speeds of the internet. And currently, over the last few years, we've really stepped up our game. We've added what we're calling advanced Wi-Fi, which is actually the best technology globally for Wi-Fi. It's the most powerful Wi-Fi, and it has built-in protection. It actually is a global award-winning protection to it. We're also able to increase internet speeds. We recently added BARC, which is a parental control software. We were able to get the city's equity department to help subsidize it so we could make sure that we offered it at a price that anybody in the community could afford, whether they were a member of cable co-op or not, because we believe it's an important tool that a parent could utilize.
Right. Now, I myself have cable co-op for internet, and I previously used another company, and it seemed like your rates are much cheaper than the previous provider that I had.
Yes, I mean, competitively, we have great rates. Since I've taken over the cable co-op, I have not rose rates on anything, including cable TV. So we keep all our prices at a nonprofit pricing. Basically, what we can make ourselves work with operationally covers us, and that's all. There's no profit, and that's the wonderful thing about being a nonprofit.
Oh, so you guys don't profit off of doing the cable? Really?
Absolutely zero.
I didn't. So you just, the money that you collect, it just goes to fund, for employees and all that kind of stuff?
Correct, yep, and provides us to be able to do upgrades and to kind of stay away from government programs that cost us a lot of money and a lot of time and effort. We're able to just keep our prices low and keep everybody happy.
Okay, I never knew that. And I know compared to other, like I said, compared to other people, your rates are good, and I never have any problems with my Wi-Fi. But you said you're updating.
Oh, yeah. Our advanced Wi-Fi is night and day from any Wi-Fi you could purchase anywhere. It's $6.95 a month, so it's absolutely affordable. It's lifetime guarantee, so as long as you have our service, that wireless will work. You never have to buy another router. You never have to troubleshoot your router. It's very easy to use, and like I said, it's the best technology available.
Okay, so I have internet, and I would just had to pay an additional $6.95.
Correct.
For the, okay. Now, because I wouldn't have known that unless I talked to you now. So do you send out like flyers, or is there, or how do you get your information out?
I mean, being so small, our marketing is very limited on what we can do. So a lot of it's just me on social media, as well as in our billing, we'll put in notes. Every once in a while, we'll send out a mailer out to our members that have services with us, letting us know that they have advanced Wi-Fi.
Okay, because my Wi-Fi currently I don't have any problems with. Yep. But so this will make it like faster or no? Like mine never really buffers or anything. I'm totally satisfied with what I have.
And that's what we want. So as long as you're satisfied with what we had, we're not going to try to upsell you with anything. But when you come to the point that you need to replace that router and you start looking at the price that it costs to replace that router compared to the $6.95 it would cost you for us for a month, and you never have to buy a router again, that's when we step in.
Well, I think that's great for the community. I mean, that's great for everybody. Now, I know cable is older because everybody uses streaming now. Everything is streamed on different platforms. But I know probably if you look at your demographics, people 60, 65 and older, they will not leave cable. So, I mean, my mother, she would not leave cable for nothing. And I'm like, Mom, you could do this. And I don't know how to do all those smart TVs and all that stuff. And when you look at your demographics, when they fade out, will you be able to replace all those people that, are now using still cable, or will cable just eventually just go away?
It depends on the market. So with us, the decision was made, the cable television side for probably the last 6-7 years has not been profitable at all. Actually, we take a loss and we subsidize that loss with what we make on the internet side. And again, like you were saying, we have a lot of older members, original members, who just couldn't handle the streaming. We could switch to a streaming type service, but then what do we do with all the people that can't do that? So I made a decision that we're going to keep cable TV as long as we have those older members. But there is a huge turnaround now versus streaming and cable TV. Streaming prices are increasing. They're realizing that they can't make the money off the advertising like you can on cable network TV. Even with the recent writers' strikes, if you watch the negotiations, it was all about cable TV networks, and the streaming side was completely left out because their profits are so horrible.
Right.
So I'm predicting that there'll be a slight turnaround, and again, it obviously depends on the market. But for us, last year, the cable television side generated more revenue than ever in cable co-op history.
Really?
Yes.
All right. Well, after that, right now we're going to take a break, and we'll come back on the other side and talk more about Oberlin Cable Co-op.
Welcome to Johnny's.
Johnny's Carry Out is where you can find an extreme variety of your favorite spirits, wines, and craft beer. Located at 12290 Levitt Road, Oberlin, Ohio, at the intersection of Butternut Ridge Road and State Route 58. Whether you are hosting a social get-together, relaxing at home, or entertaining guests, Johnny's Carry Out has the perfect pairing. Come and check out our amazing selection of fine wines, our incredible collection of domestic and craft beers, and awesome assortment of premium spirits. We also have a variety of non-alcoholic selections. Visit Johnny's Carryout at 12990 Levitt Road in Oberlin, Ohio, today.
Hi, welcome to the ARB.
Looking for an excellent restaurant? Then visit the ARB at Tappan Square, located at 19 West College Street in beautiful downtown Oberlin. Serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in or take it to go. Visit www.thearboberlin.com to order online. The ARB is open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Be sure to visit the ARB at Tappan Square in Oberlin today.
Thanks for coming to the ARB. Come back again. Bye.
Welcome back to the Tuck and Tuck Show.
We're back with the Tuck and Tuck Show, and we have Jay Shrewsbury from the Oberlin Cable Co-op. And before we left, we were talking about streaming and all different types of analog and all type of fun stuff. But during the break, you and I talked about how to get different platforms onto cable, and you were describing how difficult that is.
It is. Between retransmission rights, FCC regulations, it makes it very hard for especially a small cable company to be able to afford the rules and regulations. So we could offer a cable box that sat on a TV where you get your Netflix and your Hulu and all that. But the expense of that is so high for somebody that's so small that it really outweighs the benefits for the membership. I mean, that's the key for every decision that I make. It's not about me. It's about my 2,500 members and what's the best for them. They are the owners of our company, right, and that's how I treat my decisions.
Okay, now there's another thing. I know some providers, cable providers, every now and again they'll get into a fight with the network, and they can't get like 3, or they can't get 5, or they can't get Fox. Now, you guys get all the local channels, correct?
Correct.
Now, how do you never get into those arguments, or do you get into those arguments?
We do, but it's on a level where a lot of the membership won't see that. So the blackouts, I've been with Cable Co-op for 25 years, and I can remember once that we ever had to black out any channel ever. So a lot of times what happens is when the contract renewal comes up is the increase that they want is so high that it's hard to justify that because we try not to pass that on to our membership. We want to keep our prices as low as possible. And then they'll put in other rules and regulations. One's called pairing. So any package that you offer CNN in, you have to now offer MSNBC. You now have to offer Fox News. So it makes it very hard to make any small packages, or we're not allowed to legally sell anything a la carte.
Oh, is that, yeah, I never thought about that, but do you have to buy like news packages, sports packages? Are those all just come packaged and they're all separate?
They're from the programmer, so it'll be like NBCU. We have to take a certain amount of those channels, and they have to be in certain packages, and that's the rules. There's no way to get around it. If they were allowed us to do a la carte services, it would have saved the cable industry decades ago. But the programmers, in my opinion, aren't confident enough in their product to allow us to sell it a la carte.
Oh, I get it. So because people watch CNN, Fox, but they don't want to watch all the other stuff, so they added in. I get it. I always wonder why we have all these channels that nobody watches, so that's the reason.
Absolutely, yeah. If we had control over that, you'd be able to pick the few channels that you wanted to watch, and that's all you would pay for.
That would be great. So it's the government that does that, not you guys.
Correct. It's the government along with the programmers. Yeah. So like Disney and NBCU, Turner, they control a lot of that, and FCC allows them to do so.
Oh, okay. Because Disney, they control a whole lot.
Oh, amazing amount. I mean, it's hard to believe that they're not considered a monopoly.
Yeah. Well, let's get away from all the big stuff and let's talk about the local stuff. Because you said you do a lot of local work with Oberlin Cable Co-op. Is that correct?
Absolutely. That's kind of the pride, and is what's kept me here for so long, is that besides just being a service provider, we're really about the community. So not only do we sponsor, every year we'll buy all the pastel chalk for the chalk walk. We sponsor the award program for like Doggy Doo. and will sponsor nearly every event that happens in Oberlin. Cable Co-op is helping sponsor those. Then outside of that, we'll do, like last year, we did a electronic waste collection. So anybody that lived anywhere, even outside of Oberlin, could bring the electronic waste that they had stored in their house or their business, and we actually used the community services parking lot, and you could come to there and drop it off. We actually collected over 7,000 pounds. It filled an entire massive truck up. And 100% free to the community. In the process of that, I had a food truck there that's owned by Shantae Jackson.
Oh, we had her on the show.
Yeah, lovely, lovely person. And I was able to actually provide a discount coupon for anybody that dropped anything off. They were able to go to the food truck. So it kind of helped out everybody in the community.
Now, the big question is, now if you do Doggy Doo, which is great, people love Doggy Doo. Mm-hmm. You do the chalk walk, which is fantastic. I love the chalk walk because the artists are awesome.
Yes.
But the main question is, when are you going to financially back the Tuck and Tuck podcast? I mean, that's what I mean. Well, we're always looking for more sponsors, you know.
I haven't been asked.
He did sponsor, if you remember, Jay and the Cable Co-op sponsored the chili cook-off.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But we need like financial backing so we can get like checks written from Cable Co. But you said that you guys don't really get paid though, right? This is
correct. It's a nonprofit, so it's usually my very small marketing
budget.
Yes, that I use for it.
Now, Jay, you also do a lot with volunteers, right?
Absolutely. So Oberlin Weekly and we build a volunteer program together. It's a great program. As well as we do an annual food drive. Every year we've been able to produce over a ton of canned goods. It goes straight to community services. They're able to hand that out. This year we provided them, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was like 300 gallons of milk at one point, which we used TOF, which uses 13 local farmers to get the milk. So it's kind of, we try to make sure that any money that we do spend is spent locally.
That's great. I mean, I never knew any of that. I thought the city did Doggy Doo and the chalk walk. I didn't know it was a Cable Co-op.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of different businesses that help sponsor that. So it's you do have the city and other variety of Oberlin institutions that do sponsor the event. So it's not just fully just us.
Okay.
But usually every year they ask us about the pastel chalks. They are pretty expensive, and we'll go ahead and fund that.
Now, coming up is Christmas time. You got anything going on during December and all the holidays for December?
I mean, usually at this point in time, we're kind of busy and wrapping up the physical year for us. So we have small things going out. We're trying to encourage people to go to like a automatic pay and an email billing. Just to help us cut operational costs. That obviously leaves more money for us to keep prices low. So what I do with that is anybody that signs up for that for the month of December, we draw those names in January, and we'll draw a name out, and somebody will get $50 off of their cable bill.
Now, how do you sign up for that?
Just give us a call at 440-775-4001.
So we can't do it through the website?
You could go online, but it's, we prefer to talk to you and make sure that we, taking care of you and what you need. And that way, if you have any other questions about your service, it really differentiates us. We just expanded our system out on Quarry Road, 511 West, and going down Oberlin Road, which were all within our district, but we could never afford to get there before. And we've seen a very big need for that. A lot of people really wanted that. So we're able to expand to that. And we'll have people signing up and come in and, everybody thinks they need a gigabit service. And I can tell you no one needs a gigabit service. And we'll literally talk them down so they're spending less money, because that's what a nonprofit member-owned company should be doing.
Okay, because Matt, he brought up a good question during the break. And I didn't think about it because I live alone. I never have any problems with my internet. But he said, if you're in a household with maybe 5 people, is that still viable? Does it still work for everybody that's in a household?
Absolutely. And again, even if you had a household of 5 people that are heavy gamers, streamers,
Okay.
You do not need a gigabit service.
Okay, that's a lot for a family.
That's more than
More than enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, so far I've learned a lot about cable, and I think it's a great service. I didn't know you did all the stuff that you actually do. All right. Now you mentioned what's it called, the BARC program?
Yeah, the BARC. So BARC is a software program that was created by an entire board of child psychologists in figuring out how to help parents deal with cyber issues. We often think about when we were growing up. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the internet. And for me personally, that might have been a good thing because I don't know what my life would have been like.
It has its pros and cons for sure.
So BARC enables parents to have access to needed information on any social media platform, but it's not where the parent is looking through every post a child makes, every text message. It's looking for key phrases. So if you said, hey, you really killed Dad at basketball today, it wouldn't set off alarm. But if it said, hey, go kill yourself, then it would notify the parent. Not only does it make a notification, but it comes with a variety of recommendations of, hey, you could approach your child like this, you could approach it like this, and helps the parent kind of have access to information and other ideas that simply as a parent you usually don't have access to that. You don't know how to handle cyberbullying because you've never been cyberbullied.
Right.
And there's so much predators and misinformation on the internet that I believe it is strongly needed.
So who's on the other end of that though? If they're who's giving you the information on how to deal with these problems?
It's actually a board of child psychologists.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons I picked it. There are multiple different softwares that will do something similar, but this one was actually generated by child psychologists, and it's becoming very big. In fact, the Oberlin schools are using it now. It's becoming a great way to help deter cyber issues with children.
Okay, because my children are grown, but if I had a child in high school now, I don't know how to handle that because, like you said, we didn't grow up with that.
Yes.
Because my thing is like, well, if they're bullying you, just turn it off or block them. But I'm sure there's other ways of handling that I wouldn't know.
Correct. When I raised my kids, by the time they were teenagers, they were able to get a flip phone. There wasn't smartphones. There wasn't internet access on the phone. And if you thought something was going on via text message, you had to wrestle that phone away and search through every single text message to try to find out the information you wanted. So this is a whole different world, and it's absolutely frightening because even gaming platforms, such as Fortnite, where people
Right.
can communicate back and forth, there are predators on there that are looking to build a friendship, and they're acting like they're a teenager as well. And they build a friendship slowly over time because they have all the time in the world, where, predators used to have to go hang out in front of the library or the schools. Now they're all doing it online.
Yeah, down in the basement.
Yes, and it's very scary.
Kind of like we are now in the basement. Yeah, the old days were a little bit easier. You knew who your bully was. You just had to be able to run from him. Now you got to cyber. It's such a weird place, and it could be good, but it could be a wasteland too. So
Absolutely, it's kind of like any modern invention. It has great things to it, such as even painkillers.
Right.
They have a place.
As long as you don't abuse it. Right.
Exactly.
Same thing with the internet.
Yes.
Well, that's what. This has been a great experience talking to you, and I really appreciate it. And we're gonna wrap up. And since we're going to wrap up, I'm going to name the sponsors, which are Doobies Smoke Shop, the Arb, Oberlin Weekly, Prestige Detailing, and what's the other one? Johnny's Carry Out. I never remember. I'm the only one that's done. Yeah, technically. Yeah, we'll include them in too in case everyone else. Yeah, I'm the only one that's done every episode, and I still don't know all the sponsors. There's not that many, and I still forget. But thanks again for coming out. We really appreciate it. If you have any upcoming events that you want to talk about and come on, we'd be more than welcome to have you back.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
This has been another bomb-ass production from Short Walk Studios.